Hey everyone, Dylan with the HD Perspective. Do a little review for you today on the Milwaukee high torque impact wrench versus the DeWalt 20 volt max XR, and just compare it to kind of my old impact, air impact, some pros and cons, and what I like about each. First off, my DeWalt, I've had this one for a couple years now, and mostly just use it at home, but I've used it in the field as well. A little bit beat up, but not too bad. If you notice, it's a little bit, just a tiny bit shorter than the Milwaukee. Not by much. They're about the same height. There's 3 power settings, 1, 2, 3. There's a light on the front, which I like. Although the one downside is if you have an extension on here, it's not shining in the right spot, so it only kind of shines right here. Whereas if you look at the Milwaukee's light, it's right on the front. So that's kind of a nice feature over the air impacts. But as you can see, you know, the size, quite a bit of a difference. Both these impacts have pretty good power. I'd say the Milwaukee has slightly more, using it over the last couple months or so. But definitely both have more than enough to do most things. I've reached the limits on both of them, but probably somewhere where I should have been using a 3/4 or something. The one thing that I have found with both these impacts, but I don't know, it seems to be more so with the Milwaukee. I usually tend to be reaching into somewhere to get a bolt undone. So sometimes, you know, I'll have the gun upside down. I find it's very awkward to kind of hold on to and then pull the trigger while it's upside down. Same kind of goes for the DeWalt. And, you know, the weight and the size play into that as well. Whereas if you grab the air impact, you know, I don't have that big battery in the way, so, you know, can reach in, pull the trigger, do whatever. It's not as bad. I will say too, it's a different kind of a torque going to a cordless impact. With the air impact, it seems like it spins faster, so you get more vibration and more hits a second, I would think. Whereas the cordless, especially on the Milwaukee, it's really torquey. Like you can see when it twists your wrist even. So sometimes you can get a bolt out with the air impact, but it'll snap the bolt with the cordless impact. So with the Milwaukee, there's 2 power settings. I know they have the Gen 2 that just came out not too long ago, but I wanted to do more of a longer term review on this tool. So it's got 1 and 2 power settings. 1, yeah, it turns very slowly. For some reason, it seems like the air impact should be the better choice. And for a lot of cases it is. But for some reason, I seem to always keep going back to my cordless impact. Maybe it's because I do a lot of time climbing up and down on equipment, and you know, pulling a hose with you is kind of a pain, especially if it gets hooked on something. You gotta go and climb down and untangle it or whatever. This, you can just grab it and go. So that's nice. I like the light on the front. One thing that I don't like about these impacts, both the DeWalt and the Milwaukee, is kind of their construction. They're both, you know, made out of the hard plastic, which, you know, is fine, but they've got a lot of kind of seams and areas that it's fairly easy for grease and dirt and grime to get into, so it makes it hard to keep it clean. I don't know, I think maybe they took their design cues more from, you know, their carpentry lineup of tools and stuff, because that's kind of their main market that they try and cater to, I would think. But, you know, this thing, yeah, I can take, well, the boot's kind of torn now, but you can take it off, spray it with brake clean, clean it up and it doesn't look too bad. This gun, you know, by the way, is 10 years old and it's been used a lot. I've had it rebuilt a number of times. So you know, you can see there's only kind of the one seam around, and I know they need fins or vents for cooling and stuff like that, but I don't know if all these seams are really kind of that necessary. I guess to protect the tool itself, it's got the rubber, kind of the rubberized impact guards on there. Both these impacts, they're brushless motors, so I shouldn't have to worry about brushes wearing out in them. Yeah, you know, brushless motor. There you go, brushless. I guess the reason I went with the DeWalt originally was I had a few other DeWalt tools that I had at home, so I just thought it'd be nice, you know, I already had a couple batteries and stuff, just the small ones, but they seem to work okay. They don't last long with this tool, but whatever, I've got enough of them, I can keep them charged. I bought this Milwaukee because it was a good deal, and I kind of wanted a cordless one for work, and I wanted a cordless impact for at home. So I still do quite a bit of work on my own vehicles and stuff like that at home. So it's always nice not having to carry tools back and forth. And then you forgot something or whatever. It's nice to just have it here. And, you know, I got a smoking deal on the Milwaukee because it's the, because it was the first gen version and they just came out with the second. But it came with 2 batteries and a charger. And it was about $400. Can't remember what I paid for the DeWalt, but I think it was 3 something just for the tool itself. I look forward to the time where technology advances far enough that they can kind of get the electric impact down to the size of the air and still maintain the same amount of power. As you can see on the Milwaukee, you know, I've had it for just over a month now, I guess, of constant professional use. And it's got a little bit of wear on the end there. It does attract kind of the dirt and the grease a little bit. I try and keep my tools pretty clean though. And then, you know, the DeWalt, like I said, I've had it for about 2 years now. But it's also a good gun. So I guess it depends kind of what system you're invested in. And, you know, if you're not invested in a system, I would probably recommend going with Milwaukee just because they seem to have a little more variation in the amount of tools that they have, especially for the mechanics. And of course, the Milwaukee has a 5-year warranty, and the DeWalt, I believe, is just 3 years. So I've had good experience getting my Milwaukee stuff warranted. I haven't really had to get anything DeWalt of my DeWalt stuff warranted, but then again, I haven't been using it constantly either. I think generally, like battery packs, they're about the same price. You know, this one, or these ones I have for the DeWalt, they're just 1.5 amp hour batteries. I would like to get some bigger ones, but you know, it's good enough for being at home. And this one's a 5 amp hour battery, and it came with the 2 of them. And it's kind of got the rubberized bottom on it to help protect it, which is nice. And Milwaukee, as far as I know, all their batteries come with, you know, battery gauge, where DeWalt, they don't always. One thing that I've noticed just coming from an air impact is you can always turn this to get on your bolt if you're, you know, not quite lined up. Whereas I've noticed with the electric impacts, you can only turn it not quite, maybe a third of a turn. So sometimes it's not quite enough to get lined up with your bolts, so then you kind of gotta just bump the trigger a little bit. Not a big deal, but it's something that I noticed. Same with the DeWalt. Yeah. So just for reference, I'll use my old Mac air gun. So you can see kind of something to compare it to. You know, these are torqued to what I believe 80 foot-pounds or something like that. So it should be no issue for any one of these guns. So here's the Milwaukee. No problem. And the DeWalt. And of course, the socket sticks. You know, if you don't have any power tools, cordless tools, like I said, I would probably recommend going with the Milwaukee lineup just because of the warranty, and the price is pretty comparable between the two, but the warranty is a big thing. And yeah, they seem to have more, maybe better tools geared towards mechanics on the Milwaukee lineup. Not saying that DeWalt doesn't, but yeah, if you're already invested in DeWalt, I wouldn't just jump ship to Milwaukee right away. Well, that does it for this review. I hope you liked it. Remember to hit the thumbs up button if you did. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. And if you have any other kind of comments about either of these tools, or you're old school and you still like your air impacts. And if you haven't already, subscribe. And we'll talk to you in the next video.